Hello Doodlebugs, my name's Mary, and I'm gonna walk you through one of my favorite techniques used for painting with ink. How to art! This is called an ink bleed, and it's a pretty simple, basic technique. It might take a little time and practice to get the feel for it, but it's really fun and it creates a cool effect. So I'm gonna begin with the materials that I'm using. The paper that I'm using in this video is Bristol board paper. These are just scrap papers, drawings that I'd started and gave up on, so I'm using the backs of them to practice. The ink I'm using is liquid black India ink. I buy my ink in large pint bottles and then just put them into whatever jars I have hanging around here. Ooh. For brushes right now, I'm using these Chinese calligraphy brushes. I've also heard them called Japanese calligraphy brushes or Japanese sumi-e painting brushes. I like these brushes because the bristles are very soft and generous with absorbing water and ink. So that's going to be very handy, as you'll see coming up. I also like to have a fine liner brush on hand. This is just a watercolor brush that I've been using with ink. Most brushes will work well, especially watercolor brushes if you're using liquid ink. I just recommend clean them up and they'll last you for a while. Finally, water. I like to keep 2 glasses of water on me when I'm painting. One is going to be my clean, clear water, and the other is going to be for rinsing the brushes and is allowed to get dirty. And that way you'll always have some clean water on hand for when you want to make some washes and bleeds, which I'm going to show you next. So let's begin with our paper here, and it's handy to have a towel on hand just in case. All right, let's begin with the basic concept. Liquid ink. You just dip your brush in, and I recommend only dip it 1/3 of the way in, just the tip. So these bristles are soaking the ink up into the brush. If you dip it all the way in, you're gonna get a lot of ink and gunk up in the binding of your brush, and it's gonna affect the hairs. That's what makes them splay out. So you just need a little bit of ink. And just for the sake of demonstrating, this is what it looks like with black ink on dry paper. That's basic painting with ink. I'm gonna take this brush that I just used. It still has ink. I'm gonna set it to the side. I'm gonna grab this fresh, clean brush right here. I'm gonna dip it into my clean water. Just gonna brush some clean water onto the page. And I'm gonna dip back into that jar as I need to, just filling up my page with a nice, generous puddle of water. You can use the reflection of the light to show you exactly where your borders are right there with the water. Going back to this dirty brush, I'm gonna load up just a little more ink and pshoo! Look at that, look at that. And the ink just wants to spread out and play wherever the water is. But see how it reaches this border? That's the edge of where I put down the clean water. See, this is where the paper's dry. This is where the paper's wet. The ink is gonna go wherever the paper is wet. So that's the basic concept. And you can kind of play around with ink. I'm adding more dirty water to smooth this out, but you don't necessarily have to keep things smooth. You can also kind of dry off your brush and pull the ink if you want to clean that up a little bit. I'm going to rinse off my brush. I'm drying off my brush and pulling the ink down. See how it's clearing things up a little bit there? That's because the brush is dry, and so now that it's dry, the bristles are wanting to soak up the water, and with it, it's taking the ink. Blah. Oh, it's dripping. So that's the basic concept of how liquid ink works. You can use that to create shapes. I'm just gonna give us a pencil outline for reference. Boom. And clean off my inky brush. I forget which one's dirty and which one's clean. I'm just gonna clean them both. Rinse them off in my dirty jar, and rinse them in my clean jar. Again, I'm just loading up my brush with a lot of clean, clear water. You can fill in that shape with water, and then you can go to your ink. Watch, I'm just gonna tap the brush to the tip here. Sploosh. Look at that. Ink just wants to flow. And let's say I wanna keep that flow going, but not make it too dark. I'm gonna load up my brush with a little water. Dirty water's fine. Actually, I'm going to load it up with a lot of water. Set that water down here. You can, boom, there we go. You can use that water to really send it off and give it another kick. As you practice, you kind of get a feel for the nuances of the water and the ink and how they react to one another. Okay, so I got 2 dots on the right that's just loaded up with water. It's almost like standing bubbles, like puddles pooling. I don't know if you can really see that. And then on the left here, I did a quick swipe of water. So we get our brush rinsed, add a little ink, and whee, look at that. What a beautiful effect. Whee, wow. Yeah, it bleeds in a very different way. And then what if I really load my brush up with a lot of ink and drip it in the center? Look at that. Oh, that was cool. I really liked that. Beep. Okay, I'm gonna try one where the brush is a little wet, but not terribly, and quick swipe again. Ooh, look at that. You can also do just a little bit of ink on the brush. A little bit of ink and you get lighter tone, lighter lines. Whereas a lot of ink, you get darker lines. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And then you can also splatter. And look at that. That looks really cool. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Takes a little time and practice to get the hang of. But once you do, it looks so cool. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any other input you want to add or any questions, please leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. If you want to check out more tutorials or just watch videos of me painting, I got a whole plethora of them on my YouTube channel, and you can follow me on Instagram for daily art at Mary Doodles on all the things. P.S. The holidays are coming up. I'm going to be doing some sales on my website. I've recently posted all of my Inktober drawings from this year, 2019, on my website's shop. If you're a patron on Patreon, you got early access, first dibs, and half off. So if you want more art deals, if you want to see some bonus materials, sketchbooks, there's going to be some exclusive stickers available. You can go check out my Patreon, help support this channel and the arts for love.